blessed, I'm just getting higher. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Bitch, I'm chosen, feel like the Messiah. Ooh, yeah. Niggas ages, ain't talking about no wire. Yeah. Alright, everybody, we coming in here with another one. I really don't need to have a title for this one yet. I'ma just go with it as I go. I'm really just cleaning out my lights on TikTok. I ain't even gonna lie to you. A lot of the shit that I be talking about, bro, it's like, bro, I don't be trying to seem like, oh, I just know everything and this and that. But fam, I know what I'm talking about. And Cat Williams said this in his interview. He was like, when you really start learning shit, it ain't even about what you learning no more. It's about where you going to get the information.
Okay, people ask me all the time, where do you come up with this stuff about the Bible and aliens and all of this, and how do you connect God or Jesus or any of this stuff? It's all throughout the Bible. It's not just in a few places, it's everywhere. And people say, well, how could you say God is an alien? How do you even fathom or imagine God being an alien? Well, he's not from here, I don't think. He created us in his image, or her image, whichever you believe. That's up to you, in your version of the Creator. With that being said, in the book of Ezekiel, it breaks it down pretty specific about what aliens are and how Ezekiel viewed aliens at this time. And I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to read the scriptures to you and break it down and show you. And this was in Ezekiel's vision, and you can look this up in Ezekiel chapter 1. It's very easy to find. Let's just read this. It says in verse 16, the appearance of the wheels and their work. Now you have to remember, Ezekiel lived in a time period where there was not even a light bulb back then. So how did he describe it? We're going to see. The appearance of the wheels and their works was like unto the color of beryl, and the four had one likeness. Now it's talking about these four beings, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. Now, when you see UFOs, sometimes you see the wheel in the middle of the wheel, and you can see the rings, and he would get this vision. And when we think of the instantaneous acceleration of UFOs, this is probably what he saw during this time period in 17. When they went upon their four sides, and they turned. Now, these are these crazy motions that we're talking about that we see with UFOs. It says, turn not when they went. It says, as for their rings, now it's talking about what I was saying before, they were so high that they were dreadful, and their rings were full of eyes. Now, he probably called them eyes, but actually it was probably the lights, because those didn't exist then. And so he's like, oh man, those look like eyes. So this is what he's describing. They were full of eyes round about them four. So they were going around just like a UFO. Now you can read this for yourself. It says, and when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. It says, and when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up from the earth. It's self-explanatory. It's self-explanatory. And then it says down in here on 20, it says, whithersoever the spirit was to go. In other words, he's calling this a spirit, because he doesn't know any other explanation to call it anything else, because back then there wasn't any technology that we know of. It says in 20, whithersoever the spirit was to go, they went. Thither was the spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up over against them, for the spirit of the living creatures were in the wheels. They were inside the craft. It is so easy. If people would know how to break this down and to see this is so self-explanatory on what goes on with UFOs. I could have easily did an AI-generated video on this and used bigger phrases and words to make it sound more professional. I just want to break it down to earth explanation to show you guys how easy this is to understand. So what did Ezekiel see? Ezekiel saw a spacecraft. And how does that play into what we see today? It's easy to understand now, because we have technology and we see these things. You go, well, the Anunnaki had technology. Well, that's nice to know. Okay? I'm glad you were there to really be able to say. All right, but what we know in this scripture is that Ezekiel's describing exactly what we see. So I'm specifically talking about biblical text here. I'm not going to any other text, because that's for another video or whatever, when we're talking about technology and ancient alien type stuff. Because yes, we do know that was there as well, but during this time period there wasn't. And he was describing what he knew of at that time to be relevant to what he was being able to say to whoever he was writing this to say, hey, look, I know what I'm seeing, and I'm describing it as like creatures or animals or eyes or whatever. So he was describing it in things that he knew of. In actuality, this was God's UFO. Oh, God doesn't need a spaceship. I'm glad you know what God needs and he doesn't need. Well, I'm answering these questions for people that say these type of things because they think they sound very smart when they do it, because they think we're ignorant for thinking God would need a spaceship or need a UFO, when in actuality these UFOs were a lot deeper than just being UFOs. These things travel throughout the universe. They're like pets to aliens, just so you know, and they can remember places they went. They have remembrance of this. They can go back to areas. They don't even have to have occupants inside of the craft. Yeah, there's so much going on, but at the same time, leave your comments. Let me know what you think about Ezekiel's will, because this is talked about so much, but nobody ever breaks it down and explains it. I hope I've helped.
And it's crazy because bro said nobody really breaks it down. So what's going on with that, right? Ezekiel saw some UFOs and some beings that drive the UFOs, but the UFOs are connected to the beings. You get what I'm saying? They don't need pilots to fly them.
This tribe leader in Africa says that Darth Maul is a real type of creature that he has seen in Africa, and that George Lucas knows something. He says that Darth Maul looks like one of these creatures called the Chitauri, which is a race of lizard people that live underground.
A true creature in their village which actually exists, which even the most uneducated of Africans who knows this Chitauri can identify. Darth Maul is a red and black being.
And then he goes on to say that these Chitauri that he's seen have the same type of horns that Darth Maul has, these short little ones that wrap around the top of his head.
Bro, didn't I tell y'all Star Wars is real?
This isn't the first time that someone has suspected that Star Wars has real aliens in it. Here we got Yoda, and here we got an ancient creature which existed like 5,000 years ago on these legends, and was apparently a type of Freemason demon. Here we got a story from a Freemason, L.F.A. Levi, the famous British occultist, and is pictured conducting a demonic conjuration ritual, invoking the demon, I don't even know how to say that, also known as Yoda, into space-time. Culture comes from the cult. Movies and music are used for indoctrination. Star Wars director George Lucas is a high-ranking Freemason. Interesting. Now, for my opinion, I don't think George Lucas is a bad guy. What I've heard is that he's a starseed and he received a vision after his near-death experience when he was 18, which caused like his ancestral DNA to kick in, and he got memories from it, and that got him into Star Wars, got him into interest into movies, which he was not interested in before, and that he made these movies. That's just what I heard. I think it's pretty interesting.
The two frames
Here, check
were
this out.
actually filmed that we
C-3PO was
were
real.
able to superimpose them, and that's when the eyes popped out. The round irises, the camera eyes that tell me this is not a desiccated human being lying there on the moon. This is an artificial life form, a robot. We've called it Data's head. Doesn't look like Data. It's much more like C-3PO, which opens a whole doorway to what does George Lucas know and when did he know it?
So there you go. I bet you never thought about Star Wars actually possibly being real. When the movie starts out, it's like in a galaxy far, far away. What if all that actually did take place a long time ago?
Bro, it did, bro. Star Wars is about the war that happened between us, bro. In the Bible, when it says the devil took some of the angels and all that, Star Wars is about that war. That war is still going on to this day. Whole galactic war that really happened in a galaxy far, far away. The Lyrians and all that shit, the Draco Reptilian. Star Wars is a documentary, bro. The Yoda real and all that. Yoda is a mix of a gremlin and an elf. Real shit. What is a gremlin? A gremlin is nothing but like a low vibratory elf. Facts. And Yoda is a mixture of an elf and a gremlin.
What if I told you that the cartoon we all know as the Thundercats was actually based on a real ancient cosmic war that took place between the Lyrians and the Draco Reptilians? Lyrians are cat-like extraterrestrials. They actually...
Star Wars real, bro. I'll let you know that now. That's all I'm gonna say.
Depicted them all through the hieroglyphics in ancient Kemet. The ancient Kemetic goddess Sekhmet was actually from the Lyran constellation. Kemetic goddess Bastet is also from the Lyran constellation. Here's a depiction of the Lyrans. This is an extraterrestrial feline race, okay, from the constellation of Lyra. All right, now they are pretty much agreeable, meaning that they're benevolent beings. We got along with these beings. Bastet was actually married to Enki, or they also refer to him as Ptah. We all know Mumra was their main villain, okay? And if you look at the emblem on his chest, it's a two-headed serpent facing each other, basically. It's a personification of reptilian chaos energy. These were their primary villains, okay? They were reptilians. We all know the Draconians are basically tyrants, all right? They're a very tyrannical race. Their objective is basically to create war and chaos. For those that aren't aware of who the Lyrans are, some say that these beings actually created the Elohim. It was referred to as the Lyran Syrian High Council, all right? And their job was they overseeing the Syrians that seeded the 12-strand DNAs on the 5D planet Terra. Again, the Lyran Syrian High Council was basically in charge of hosting the seeding of 12-strand genetics on the planet. All of one was basically the personification of what's called the Christic ideology. So in perspective, this was a war of consciousness. This is a war between the Christ and the Antichrist. Christ meaning love and service to others, and Antichrist basically just meaning service to self. The Antichrist basically in perspective means a tyrannical mindset just in service to self and opposed to the collective conscious joining for love for others. Because these beings' objective is to basically oppress the law of one or go against the law of one, they basically are willing to mind control you to bend you to their will. They'll basically strip you of your free will. A lot of us think we are operating under our own accord, when most of the time it's MK Ultra, it's different things that are being induced in our neurophysiology to basically make us basically their puppet mastering everyone, all right, through different technology and a lot of different chemicals and things of that nature, just to basically bend you to their will. Been depicted it in Thundercats. Mumra was a mummified mystic. He used mind control and a lot of different tactics to get the Thundercats to go against each other, to basically get them off point and things of that nature. Mumra used a lot of mind control tactics and mind games. This is the same thing that's going on currently with the Draco Reptilians. They use MK Ultra. They use a lot of mind games to basically pull you away from who you truly are. This is why in Thundercats, they also showed us the importance of the third eye and seeing through the illusion. When Lionel picked up the Sword of Omens and he put it right here and he said, give me sight beyond sight, it opened that pineal gland up. And that's the representation of the pineal gland and seeing through the illusion. He was able to see through all Mumra's magic, all his illusions, okay? The fourth wall he put up to create that illusion, that pineal gland will break it down. This is why I stress the importance of getting your lion's mane mushroom or ginkgo biloba to decalcify your pineal gland and regenerate damaged brain cells. I also highly recommend getting your blue lotus and mugwort leaf for accessing transcendental states of consciousness. These herbs are great for lucid dreaming as well as astral projection. I do have all high quality herbs, elixirs, and metaphysical products for spiritual exploration available on Holistic Remedies for Ascension. For those who never seen this cartoon, or probably those who never seen it in years, you know what I'm saying? I'm an 80s baby, so I grew up on cartoons like this. Go watch it again. It's a lot of gems in there. Peace, love, and light to everyone.
You know what you're talking about. And what did I just say about Star Wars, bro? The Draco Reptilians and the Lyrans, they went to war in a galaxy far, far away.
The reptilian society is very structured, and there is a hierarchy where we have the elite group, which is the white-winged reptilians. They're very tall, actually have icy blue eyes, and very sleek but powerful bodies. And then it works down all the way, 7 levels in at least the Draco Empire, to a workforce or drone-like reptilians, which are quite small, perhaps 3 to 4 feet high, very brown, scaly skin, not very intelligent, basically do what they are told. In between, you have a military class, you have a spiritual or religious leaders that are very much like we would have bishops and cardinals and popes. They also have an intellectual caste, and then a general mass of people. For all intents and purposes, if you really wanted to know what the Draco Empire hierarchy was like, just look at the Hindu caste system, which was based on that. If you read about Hindu legend and even anything in East Asia, it talks about the Naga, which were the 7 heads.
People been saying the religions came from the Draco reptilians, bro. Bro, me and a lot of other folk been told y'all, and they get everybody to worship what they want you to worship.
Headed reptilians, which came ashore in Asia after their continent sank in the Pacific, and is spoken about in all of the Asian, Southern Asian, and East Asian legends
Now,
and
the
histories.
Nagas,
The 7-headed
do a live
reptilian,
about
or
Nagas.
Naga, really represents the 7 levels of the caste system in the Draco Empire hierarchy. The first time I ever had contact with reptilian beings was when I was working as a teenager, believe it or not, in the Montauk Project between 1970 and 1983. They were what I would consider to be of the military or warrior class, very large, powerful, mean-looking, scary-looking. When you're 13, 14 years old and you see an 8 or 9 foot tall creature with fangs and green and yellow eyes coming at you, it's very scary. They were kind of there as observers, along with observers from the U.S. government, the Israelis, the Russians, Germans, and even British. They were there to watch and exchange information on the programming techniques and the technology that the U.S. government had developed from other alien technologies, as well as what they had discovered from Atlantean.
He was just finna say Atlantis. And who are the Atlanteans? That's us, the Anunnaki. We the Atlanteans. They reverse engineer our ancient technology and all that shit, bro. But this the thing. They can't reverse engineer our shit, how they can do the Draco reptilian stuff, though. Because a lot of the technology and stuff that we use to power our shit, it's like a spiritual type of way. You get what I'm saying? It's like spiritual, like the light codes and shit like that to open up certain doors and all that. That shit is in our DNA. Then how he said in the 1900s, that's when they did this shit. Bruh, I told y'all the government signed a treaty with real extraterrestrials in the 1900s in exchange for technology. They can kidnap people. It's called the Greater Treaty. Real shit. But they pretty much rouse it up. Leave y'all thoughts in the comments, and we out.
I know I'm the shit, I ain't talking about diapers, yeah. Ooh.